even though a quintessentially California and American city, it's an important thing for you to think about this. All over the world, people are saying, you know, this globalization is having growing pains. There's a lot of prosperity and promise and a lot of pain and problems. Maybe we ought to build a few walls and call it time out. Maybe we should just withdraw. You know, it's not all that easy getting along with people who look different than we do, think different than we do, live different than we do. Oh, I know it's exciting, but boy, it's hard. Maybe we should just stick with our own. No. And then there's this Make America Great Again. Now look, folks, I am a white Southern Protestant. I know what Make America Great Again means. It is code. And what it means is something ugly and something fantastical. Now, fantastical is, hey, I know you're not doing well now. Vote for me, and I will give you the economy we had 50 years ago. Yeah, it's good for you then. You'll get a bigger piece of the small pie, and I'll move you up on the totem pole. That's the other part. And I have this to say about it. America wasn't so hot for a lot of people 50 years ago. There's something just unrealistic about it. If you take the good parts of it, it's like saying, I'd like to be 25 again. And I would, but it's not going to happen. Hillary believes our biggest task is to build a 21st century greatness of shared prosperity, shared community, it's a big debate, and they're having a debate in more places in America. Then you have to decide about who we are right now. Look around this crowd. I think it's a lot more interesting because we're from everywhere. We look different. To use her phrase, she thinks we're stronger together than being divided. In a world where all the borders look like nets instead of walls, do we really want to build walls? Wouldn't we be better off with bridges? If there's security problems, what do you do on a bridge? You control the speed limit, you have 2 security checks, but you don't tear the bridge down and put a wall up. That's what I give you 2 examples. One of the things I've been proudest of in this campaign is that Hillary, in part because she was a senator from New York, in part because she was Secretary of State, at a time when our approval rating went up 20% across the world. Understand that this wall idea won't work. California suffered the most recent terrorist attack in America, in San Bernardino. Those people were converted over to social media. And she has said from day one that it is nuts to demonize our fellow citizens who are Muslims. We need everyone who loves freedom and disapproves and hates terror to join with us and prove we've got a model here that will work for the world today and tomorrow. You just have to real commitment to sustainability. And the guy who wanted to build a wall around it still got within a 0.5% win the election. Because they said, oh, we got the biggest refugee flow in Europe since World War II. We are so afraid. And I can give you lots of of the fastest growing economies on earth. A lot of people don't know that, but they have 3 virulent terrorist groups beleaguering different parts of Africa. Latin America has the best, most equal economic relationship with the U.S. of any region of the world, and democracy is making a comeback in Venezuela and other places. But Brazil, the biggest economy in South America, is in trouble, and the politics are roiled. Russia's still hanging around Ukraine. China's economy is in trouble, so what are they doing? They're acting more nationalistic and making the Vietnamese and the Filipinos and a lot of other people who are represented in this country feel insecure. When we ought to be building a shared future. So the point of this is that San Francisco is uniquely positioned to understand that every American should care about the implications of our election and our choices in the rest of the world. We have here a Greek American from Northern California who just did a stint as ambassador to Hungary. Hungary is a country that would not be free but for the United States and NATO and all the Cold War. And yet the president of Hungary recently said, maybe Mr. Putin's style of government, that is, more authoritarianism and less free press, would work better because, and I quote, his country had rational needs that were more important than democracy. Now, at one level he could have been saying, hey, I just like to stay in office alone. But what he's really saying is, this modern world's too much trouble, and there's some people in his country who agree with him. We have to say, no, 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 no. In the United States, we think we're stronger together. We're for unity, not division. We're for the future, not the past. And we're for bridges, not walls. And if we do, to do that, we got to have a president that will keep us safe enough and give us space enough so we can grow and lead the world away from this. If the rest of the world thinks that we don't want to accommodate our diversity, including the LGBT community, including the immigrants, including our veterans and others who need more mental health support, including our disabled Americans who need access to the workforce, including everybody. If they think we don't want to do it, then they won't try. And we will be in deep trouble. And you know, it's really important. I believe with all I've spent So, why should we be paralyzing all these young people and tying them up in knots? If they had the option to convert their debt into a 20-year mortgage, which would be forgiven at the end of 20 years if they hadn't paid it off, and the payment limited, no matter how much they owe, to a maximum of 10% of their after-tax income, think what would happen. Everybody can move out of their parents' house. The United States has 21 to 25% of the world's economy in a given year. That means most of the growth of wealth is somewhere else, more widely dispersed. But if everything else goes down, it could drag us down. In the last 3-month period, we had a great piece of news. For the first time since the crash, we got above 61 cents on the dollar of corporate revenue going to pay and benefits, and wages for working people started to rise. We got a bad piece of news. In spite of what had been a roaring economy, our growth was cut back to 0.5% entirely because of troubles in the rest of the world. Therefore, the choice you make for president and what that president does, the understanding, the standing, the credibility, to create space for us to grow by helping things in the rest of the world will have an impact on your life here on the streets of San Francisco. I believe that Hillary should be president because I think her ideas are good. Because she's proven an almost uncanny ability to get Republicans to do things they didn't think they'd do. She got the House Republican leader when I was president to sponsor a bill to move more kids out of foster care because she discovered that he's been adopted parent. And she looked at it and she said, you can't turn away from these children. They're going to age out of foster care. They're going to be thrown on the street, and they're just like your children. And he couldn't deny it, and he did. And we had an 80% increase in the adoption of children out of foster care. She's been able to do things like the nuclear treaty with Russia, which got 67 votes in the Senate, a lot of Republicans. The sanctions against Iran, which led to being able to erect a nuclear program for a decade. Ending a treaty war between the Palestinians, Hamas, and Israel, and in Gaza. And doing a lot of other things, including tripling the number of lives your tax money saving for people with AIDS in Africa by just going to 100% generic drugs, which we should do with healthcare programs in America. So you should be optimistic about our ability to create shared prosperity, upward mobility, less inequality. But we got to do it together. We got to have a Supreme Court that believes in expanding voting rights and unrestricted. That believes in protecting labor rights and women's rights, not breaking them. society in which our diversity creates unity, not division.